Hello, and welcome to Critical Weight Theory. And today I'm going to actually do an album review sort of episode. So I'm looking at The Power to Believe, King Crimson's 13th studio album released in 2003, and it's said to be their final album. And this is, of course, being recorded more than 2 decades later, but it remains their most recent full length studio album, which gives it a special place in their remarkable history. And what makes The Power to Believe so interesting is that it never sounds nostalgic. Rather than revisiting past triumphs, King Crimson continued pushing forward. The lineup of Robert Fripp, Adrian Belew, Trey Gunn, and Pat Mastelotto built upon years of experimentation through the band's project side projects, refining ideas that eventually found their way onto this record. And the result is one of the heaviest and most modern sounding albums in the King Crimson catalog. Instead of relying on traditional progressive rock conventions, the music emphasizes complex rhythms, metallic guitar textures, electronic manipulation, and dramatic contrasts between quiet atmosphere and explosive intensity. So I can't promise you that if you enjoyed the earlier stuff that you're going to love this album because it is a little bit more modern sounding. One of the album's standout tracks is Level 5, an aggressive instrumental that continues the band's long running Larks, Tongues, and Aspic tradition, and it demonstrates how King Crimson could honor their past while still sounding fresh and contemporary. So it's definitely got a lot of the, you know, uh, same style that King Crimson had, but it's got more of a modern sound, if that makes any sense. I know there are some prog rock nerds out there who probably already are pulling their hair out over something I've said, but this is just my take on this stuff. And another highlight is Eyes Wide Open, one of the album's most accessible and emotional songs. Amid the record's intricate rhythms and technological textures, this provides a welcome moment of vulnerability and reflection. It might be a little bit more like the traditional King Crimson of old, you might say, and the instrumental Electric showcases the band's love of interlocking rhythms and evolving grooves, while Dangerous Curves slowly builds from ambient restraint into a powerful wall of sound. Throughout the album, the four-part title suite, The Power to Believe, serves as a unifying thread that ties the various musical ideas together. And musically, the album has more in common with Discipline and Thrack than with the band's early symphonic work. And rhythm, texture, and precision sort of take center stage. It also represents a refinement of the ideas introduced on the previous album, The Construction of Light. Over time, many listeners have recognized the album's influence on progressive metal and math rock, particularly its use of odd meters, layered textures, and disciplined repetition. And I'm sure people continue to regard this as one of the strongest late career progressive rock albums because it refuses to rely on nostalgia. You can't say that it sounds exactly what came before. And The Power to Believe may have become King Crimson's final studio album, but it hardly feels like a farewell. Instead, it sounds like a band that's still exploring new possibilities after more than 3 decades of evolution. So, that's perhaps the most King Crimson thing imaginable, and I think that vibe is captured on this album. It doesn't seem like some kind of sad farewell album or something like that. It seems like, the band could go on if it wanted to, or something along those lines. And I don't know why they called it quits. I'm not really that immersed in the King Crimson lore. But if any of you want to let me know about that, feel free. Maybe they just believe that they said all that they needed to say, and they were just like, you know what? Here's one final album, and we're gonna go off and do our own thing. And that's about it for the episode. It's a quick little suggestion for an album to listen to. And thanks for listening. Click like and subscribe, all that stuff. So have a good one.